Welkom terug by Winslyn. Besighede wat tegnologie reg aangewend het tydens die COVID-19 pandemie, het merkwaardige groei gesien. Voordat ons oor die gebruik van tegnologie in die eiendomsmark gesels, vertel Mukundi Lambani meer oor haar besigheid AMBANI Africa. Die slimfoontoepassing help kinders om 'n taal op 'n prettige manier aan te leer. AMBANI Africa is vanjaar se MTN sake-app van die jaar wenner en het meer as 1000 inskrywings uitgestof om met die 1 miljoen rand prysgeld weg te stap.
I was studying and I was doing a lot of interviews with different parents because my research was specifically on understanding a generation that was moving from their families of origin to their families of destination. So I found myself speaking to a lot of parents, and in this research, a lot that came up was language. So this idea that parents wanted a way to be able to impart language onto their kids, but they really didn't know how. And you found that schools had similar issues where they were introducing these languages and trying to teach them, but there weren't a lot of resources for doing that. And personally, I wanted to speak my language of Tshivenda more fluently, but I found that there weren't a lot of places where I could go or resources that I could use for that. And so that's really where the idea of AMBANI Africa came from.
AMBANI Africa helps schools to teach African languages in a fun and accessible way. This easy-to-use web platform uses stories and games for learning through play. Spelling, phonics, comprehension, sentence construction, and even speaking. Developed by teachers, the platform has a recording feature for teachers to check each student's speaking ability. We'd love to tell you more about how this can be utilized in your school.
In terms of coming into the technology space, I think it can often be quite intimidating. I didn't come from a technology background. I actually came from the creative industry into technology, and I think the combination of that has really come through in all of the different things we've been able to do as a business. But I think my advice is to always start with, there's so many no-code solutions. So I think we always think when you're in technology, you have to start by coding and building, this perfect thing, and then finishing completing something that's absolutely perfect and putting it out there. And I've discovered that's not really how it works. And so I always say start with instances where you can test out the idea. So even if it's just going online, there's lots of no-code websites where you can create like a quick website or a quick little ad on Facebook. So I always say start with that, test the market, see if there's an interest before you start building, and understand that the building is a process. You'll always be improving, you'll always be making this thing better. You don't have to start out with the perfect thing.
Didingwe Inkomo Tharu Amehlo.
We really combine this idea of education, gaming, and language. So you're really able to play these really fun games for young learners or even for older learners, and you're actually learning at the same time. So it doesn't just feel like you're sort of sitting in class learning something, but you're actually having a good time while doing it. And our focus on really previously marginalized or very digitally underrepresented languages, I think also makes us quite unique.
Sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Uma ngithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo.
The impact of the MTN App of the Year Award has been incredible on our business. Firstly, for the exposure, I think our downloads have probably tripled within this time. So a lot more people are aware of the app, and a lot more people are able to enjoy it, which is really fantastic for us. We've also been presented with some amazing business opportunities. So we're in the process of really establishing great partnerships that will help us expand our impact and our reach in terms of our app and our different services. And then, of course, there's the 1 million rand prize, which is always amazing for a startup. As you know, you often just need that cash and some input in order to be able to push the business forward. And so that's really helped us sort of establish ourselves a little bit more as a startup, put in some good systems in place, and be able to retain the good people that we have and that we've been working with. So really, it's been just an incredible impact, an incredible push for our small business. challenges between sort of starting a business and trying to grow a business can be a little bit different. And we're always like, oh, we want more customers. And then you get them and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. And so the capacity has definitely been one of those things. I think operations as well. So oftentimes when you're in a startup, you're sort of ad hoc and you're kind of doing things where you can and as you go. But as you expand, you actually have to put in processes and procedures and make sure that there's a system that can run and that can be a lot more efficient as soon as you're doing more than you would when you initially started. You won't always have every skill needed for the business, but I think knowing how to find the right people and encourage the right people to work with you is a skill that every entrepreneur